Hey, what's up everybody, Rich Gaming Guy here. Today in this video, we're going to talk about Batocera updates and whether or not you should consider updating to the latest version. So at the time of this video, the latest version of Batocera is Batocera 35. So I've been getting a lot of questions from people asking me, should they update to the latest version? And I always recommend that you try to get as much information on the latest version as possible prior to pulling the trigger on an update. You never know 100% exactly what you're getting yourself into. So first off, rule of thumb that I always have when I'm considering updating is look at your current performance, look at your current experience on Batocera. If you're jumping into all these different collections and games and using all these different emulators and everything is running extremely well, I would say if it's not broke, don't try and fix it. Stay with what you have because you know exactly what your entire build is capable of. You know exactly where its strengths and weaknesses are. And you can usually tweak those within settings. Now, if something brand new and groundbreaking has come out on the latest version, then that might kind of sway you to go and update. But if you don't have any concrete information to go off of, and you don't know for sure that that new update is going to better your performance, then you may want to just kind of hold off for a little bit. And if you were one of the first people to go in and do an update, you're essentially one of those first people that's kind of testing out the system and seeing, where the quirks are. And if you do run into issues, you're not going to have as much support for those issues because other people are out there trying to navigate their way through this new version, find out the strengths and weaknesses, and if there are fixes that need to be implemented, they're trying to figure out the solution and how to tackle those issues and better the performance. So I'll tell you what my experience was like when switching to Batocera 35, and I will say right off the bat, it's been generally pretty positive. One of the awesome things about Batocera 35 is that you have light guns that are now plug and play. Now that doesn't mean that you can go in and start playing all of your light gun games without having to alter any settings or anything like that. You always have to make adjustments and do little things within your settings to improve the performance and improve the experience. But for the most part, if you have a Sinden light gun, for example, diving into Batocera 35 and going into those light gun games is pretty seamless, which is really awesome because previously light guns have always been kind of a headache, to say the least, in order to set those up and get them running smoothly. So that's been a positive experience. One of the negatives that in the end I actually was able to figure out, but prior to updating to Batocera 35, I had Wii U and Nintendo Switch both running perfectly on my build. When I updated, neither one of those collections was able to actually launch games and get me into a really playable experience. So I found out the solution to those. I'll be posting videos on exactly how I fixed those collections, but that was definitely a frustrating experience to try and figure out how to get those up and running again, because those two collections actually took a lot of time to put together originally. So to have to go back out and kind of basically start from scratch on both of those collections was definitely frustrating. Luckily, I still had the ROMs that I was using backed up, so I didn't have to go and locate those and go through all of the process from scratch, but it still was a time-consuming process. So that was really the only downside. Now, there were also different BIOS requirements. So there were different BIOS files that I needed to add to my Batocera build in order to get certain collections up and running. One of those was Naomi collection, which I usually don't play a lot of. I think the only game in there that I really play a lot of is Royal Rumble. But I needed to update the Naomi BIOS files for that collection. Wasn't a big deal, and luckily with the BIOS check that you can run through your main menu in Batocera, it tells you exactly what you're missing, exactly what you need to go out and add into your build. So, you still have to locate it, which can be a process to say the least, but I was able to do that. I've actually posted a video, which I'll put a direct link in the description of this video if you have updated and you're running into that BIOS file issue. I'll put a link in the description. You can click over, check out the video that I walk through the process there, but also the links that I provide that actually give you access to all of the missing BIOS files that you'll need for Batocera 35. So little things like that definitely, are some hurdles that you have to overcome with a update. But, in the end, it just depends on what your current experience is like and what you're hoping to gain out of a up-to-date version. So it's really not a cut and dry sort of answer as to yes or no, you should or shouldn't go ahead and update to the latest version. It just depends on what your current experience is like and what you're hoping to gain out of potentially updating. So if you have any questions beyond that, feel free to hit me up in the comment section below. I'm still actually navigating my way through Batocera 35. I don't have a massive amount of time to jump into games and game collections all the time, and I always find myself jumping into the same collections and games, usually for like weeks on end. So I'm still, discovering new collections or collections I haven't really played around with too much in Batocera 35. So, I'll probably be finding new little quirks and hopefully improvements as well as, I navigate my way through my own build. So feel free to hit me up in the comment section if you have any questions, concerns, anything like that. Always happy to help you guys out. Also, if you found this information helpful, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button on the video. It's a huge help to me here on YouTube. And of course, hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop for all future videos here on the Retro Gaming Guy YouTube channel. Thanks for the support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.